I am Charlie Joe from Penn Hills High School. This is Miss Livengood from Kent State. And we'll start off with our first question of, so how does the transition for incoming freshmen acclimating to college life?
Yeah, so all of our new freshmen have to go through Destination Kent State, which is like our freshman orientation program. Typically, it is June before students start at Kent State. So it's a really great way to get students acclimated because they show up on campus 2 months before they even move in for move-in day. But they'll meet with different students in their major, other new freshmen, they'll meet with their advisors, just a bunch of other students too. So that's a great way for students to kind of get acclimated to the campus, get their schedule, learn all of that stuff before they actually show up on move-in day.
Well, what are the percentages of students who land a job right out of college?
Yeah, so it kind of depends on each major. So for example, our College of Nursing, their job placement rate is 99.6%. So it's very, very high, but obviously it's not that high for all of the majors. I would say about 80% of students either continue on their education, so in some sort of like graduate level program or things like that, or continue on in full-time employment. So that's kind of like a rough number for you overall.
Okay. What kind of SAT or ACT scores are?
Yeah, so for the first time ever, Kent State has actually gone test optional. So you don't have to have a test score to be admitted into Kent State. If you did really well and you want us to use your score, you can obviously send it over to us. But maybe you didn't get to take it because of COVID or you didn't like your score, that's okay. You can still be awarded merit-based scholarships and you can still be reviewed for admission without a score. I would aim for probably, if you do want like some sort of rough number, probably a 21 ACT or around a 1060 SAT. Even with those numbers, though, we will still admit below that if you don't quite meet that criteria. We just look at a lot of different things.
So how are the merit-based scholarships based? Or is it on grades or?
Yeah, so the merit-based scholarships are an automatic review process. So whenever you guys apply to Kent State, we're automatically looking at your test score and your GPA to see if you qualify for any merit-based scholarships. I know I said test score, but if you don't have a test score, that's okay. We can still just look at your grades. But because it is merit-based, it's strictly based off of test score GPA and or test score. There's not like a hard minimum that you have to be awarded anything because it does depend on different criteria. But it's an automatic process. You guys don't have to do any additional applications or anything like that.
So what kind of other scholarship opportunities do you have there?
Yeah, so we actually have a brand new university scholarships office. I think their office is like a year old now, but on our website, which is just kent.edu/scholarships, there is a scholarship search tool. So once you've been admitted, you can go in there and enter in like where you're from, what high school you go to, maybe what your major is, and it will generate a list of all of the additional scholarships that students can apply for. So those ones do require either an application or an essay. They're all different, but any of those scholarships that students are awarded can be combined with those automatic merit-based scholarships.
And then how does your diversity initiative work?
A ton of diversity initiatives across Student Multicultural Center, which kind of encompasses all things diversity. They do a lot of different menteeship programs. They have their own special orientation, different things like that. We also have an Office of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion, and they are kind of the overarching Office of Diversity on campus. They do a lot of work with our students of different backgrounds or ethnicities or races. And then another thing that we have done is holistic admission. So what this is we are looking beyond a test score and a GPA, and we're actually taking into account students' backgrounds, where they're from, maybe they've had some sort of like life-changing event happen in their life. But we've noticed that a lot of our diverse students, this is really helping them out, and it's helping get students admitted who probably wouldn't have been admitted prior to this holistic review.
So what are some of the most popular majors you have?
Yes, so we have five that I always mention. Education is the first one. That's kind of what Kent State was founded on, so it's pretty popular. Fashion design and fashion merchandising. We're actually number 4 for fashion in the whole country and number 17 in the world. So if you're interested in fashion, Kent State is a good place to be. Our flight program, so it's called Private Pilot, but we are actually one of the only flight schools in the state of Ohio. We're number 2 in the country, and we have the largest fleet of aircraft in the state of Ohio with 32 planes, so pretty impressive there. And then architecture is our last top major, in my opinion.
So what are the student to professor ratios?
Yeah, so we're 21 to 1, which is pretty good for the size of school that we are. About 50% of our classes have 20 students or less, and about 90% of our classes have 50 students or less. So it's very similar to like what you guys are doing in high school now, maybe a little bit bigger, but it's still not anything crazy.
So how much does your university cost on average?
Yeah, so for you guys being out of state, it's around 33,000 for the year. So that includes your housing, your meal plan, and the actual tuition. Tuition does increase a very small percentage each year. So depending on when you guys start, it might increase a little bit. But with that being said, once you start as a new freshman, we're part of the Ohio Tuition Guarantee. So whatever tuition, room and board you guys come in with as a freshman, that's locked in all 4 years. So even if the class after you, their tuition increases, you guys are still set at that initial cost.
All right. I think that's
Ask her if she has a Pennsylvania agreement, kids going to Ohio from Pennsylvania.
Do you all have any sort of agreement for kids coming from Pennsylvania to Ohio?
So I think what he means is like with tuition. So I think 2 of our regional campuses, they offer a discounted out-of-state tuition for Pennsylvania residents, but the Kent campus unfortunately does not. So it's still the same out-of-state cost that it would be for any of the states.
And is there anything else I didn't mention that you wanted to add?
I think I'm good there, but I am the admissions counselor for you guys. So as you're applying or if you have questions, all of my contact information is listed online and your school counselor also has it. So feel free to reach out. I'm more than happy to help in any way that I can.
All right. It was nice meeting with you.
Yeah, you too.